Hi, thank you for tuning to the Just Respected podcast with your host, Marcus.
And Cynthia Jordan.
We'd like to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to give this podcast a listen. We truly appreciate it, and we pray this podcast blesses you. If you enjoy it, please subscribe below. Hey, what's going on? And we're back.
Welcome back.
How are y'all doing? I hope y'all are having a great week.
Yes.
Oh, man.
A lot of rain lately.
A lot of rain, a lot of cold weather. Another news, we lost another legend in Cicely Tyson, and what's
another phenomenal
woman. I mean, she was like everybody's grandmother. I remember I first seen her in Miss Jane Pittman.
Yeah.
You y'all remember that? Yeah. She done. She done. That's the country in me. Yeah. She's done so much great things for our culture, for the world, and for the actors, just really paving the way for all the young actors and actresses coming up behind her. Mm-hmm. So she will be missed.
Definitely.
I feel like every week is like a PSA on the obituary.
Well, hopefully there will be no more.
I know. I mean, in God's time.
And spring is coming too, so.
Right.
Ready for
Let's keep hope alive. Hey guys, if y'all have not done so, go ahead and hit this like and subscribe button so you can be up to date on any droppings that we do of any content.
Yes.
Hey, and also if y'all want to get a dope hoodie or a shirt, any merch, reach out there to me.
He also does custom shirts
and well. Custom shirts if you need anything done for your kids.
But our topic for today for the podcast is, our perspective on what makes a great leader. Because, we've been talking lately, and I feel like, there's leaders placed in every aspect of our lives, whether it be like in your career, in the church, mm-hmm. In the family, in friendships, relationships, etc. Being a good leader is vital. What are your takes on being a leader? We had this conversation, so what do you... Well, a little bit.
Being a leader, I hold leaders up to like the highest level because I just have so much respect for any leader in any field that you may be in, whether you're a manager or you may be an owner, whether you're a pastor, a youth minister, or even like a life coach, anything that you are, a mentor, just having that platform that you have that someone is looking for you for guidance, and like you pretty much you have the opportunity to make and shape the next generation that's coming up behind you.
Yeah.
I hold it up to like a thing. I've been lucky to have so many great managers, so many great leaders that I've been able to look up to.
Some good examples. Some
great examples. And I had my bad, but it make you appreciate the times when you do come in contact with those.
I agree. I don't know. I feel like when you said when you take that commitment to be a leader, you made a promise.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just about you; it's about the people you're leading. They're important too. So I feel like there are a few traits that make a great leader.
Mm-hmm.
Accountability.
Yep. Integrity. Yes.
And character. We're speaking a lot about character. Character is very important.
Mm-hmm.
And compassion. You have to have a compassion for the people you're leading. And I would say it breaks my heart to see leaders not use their platform that they're on for what it was made for them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because having a bad leader you can lose good employees.
Yeah.
We'll just give that example for in the career setting, or not having a good leader, you can lose people, the church or in your friend group, whatever.
Even if you're on the sports team, anything that you're doing.
As a captain, you can lose your role, all sorts of things. So it's important to remember when you take that when you take that role, you made a promise.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to remember that. I feel like a lot of times leaders get kind of caught up in what they have going on, that it's hard to take a step back and try and think about this person as an individual insteed of just a number.
Yeah.
I've had my fair experience of bad leaders,
mm-hmm.
But also good leaders as well. And just made me want to think what kind of leader would I want to be? What kind of leader would I want?
I think people lose sight of that.
Yeah.
Of of being in that position where you just starting off at the entry level and you trying to work your way up, or
Definitely.
even being that kid that's going out for a team trying out and you know, say until you became the captain in your like third or fourth season, you pretty much learning the ropes, learning how to get by, and you have someone that's coming up behind you. It comes to a point where we can fall into a trap of like, I don't want no one to steal my job. I don't want no one to steal my position.
Or it
But
becomes
that,
like a power
right, a
struggle.
power shift, and it's
Yeah.
like you pretty much are now altering your character and your integrity because now you're blocking. It's like you're trying so hard to block the people that God is really giving you to mentor.
The one that are following you, the one that you're leading. Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
I feel like that's been so much of our society.
Yeah, true. So what are your thoughts on accountability? Like, for, our perspective, what makes a great leader?
Man, accountability is good too. Just being able, you can hold someone to their word. Have growing up and hearing the word, be a man of your word, because that's really, at the end of the day, that's all we really have.
Be dependable.
Be dependable.
Be that
someone
person
I
that
can
someone can
count on.
trust.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. So,
I agree.
Yeah, I feel like that's big in any aspect. I mean, just not even in. It's like you're a leader in everything, even in your friendships, in your friend group. Not doing everything that you feel like is popular or you feel like you got to do to fit in.
Yeah.
But doing what you feel like is right or wrong in your heart.
And sometimes that path less traveled is the best path for you.
Yep.
I think what you said about accountability, you're right on point. I agree with that. And also, we don't expect leaders to be perfect. Like leaders, of course, you make mistakes. We're all human, but remember the same, for staff too, or
Right.
for people who are being led. Just remember, just take accountability.
But too, it's always to the point too. Is like we put so much pressure on leaders, but it's like us as followers got to do our part of praying for our leaders, really much making their job easier as well, picking up our load. It's so easy to be like, okay, well, they're the boss, so we're going to follow the leader. We're going to
or
put
you
everything.
get paid the money to do
right,
this.
Right.
And,
It's so easy to do that versus look at it like, well, no, we're an organization, and we can actually come together and push something greater, have unity in it, And we see that in different areas in life where people can come together and great things can happen. You look at a Fortune 500 company, it doesn't start with one. It starts with one person's vision, but it doesn't. That one person doesn't do everything in that company.
It takes people.
Yeah, you got to delegate. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So that's in everything. So just being mindful of that, and even in like ministry, pastors are actually held to like a higher standard. In their that it's so important that they're like leading their flock in the way that God is really telling them to go, because it's like they get extra judgment,
Yeah.
at the end of the day. And it's like sometimes we can lose sight on that when we can see where some people are at, and we can probably get to the point of comparison and being like, man, I wish I had that, or I wish I was at their state. And a lot of times we're seeing people at their finished level. You know what I'm saying? We're seeing the end result. We didn't see what they had to go through to get there. So it's like,
and even with that, you're just seeing one part of the puzzle. There's
right.
so many pieces.
And so it's like a lot of times we got to play our role. We got to know that where I'm at right now in this company or in this position is like I'm here now, and I'm just gonna focus where I'm at, and I'm gonna do the best I can do to get to the next thing. Because you got to think about it. You got to model the behavior that you're trying to get to. Like if you want to be a great leader, you got to model what is it like being a great employee.
Yeah,
or was it great being, a team player?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. And I would also say integrity is also a very imperative component for a great leader to have. Like you have to be trustworthy. You have to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be, you're leading by example.
And you also got to be relatable. Knowing that you have a family, other people have families.
How is your day? How's your family doing?
Finding things that are like significant about who you come in contact with.
It leads into compassion.
Right,
seeing them as just more than that.
More than just a number. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Understanding that they're human, life happens, things happen. Work with each other instead of trying to feel like
against each other. Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it is like a big power surge. Like, well, I am,
Everybody got to be the king of the castle.
Yeah, but it's always perspective. I feel like you can always learn both. You learn a lot on both ends.
Mm-hmm.
But even with that, like character, we were talking about is very important because that like you should like it helps you build that respect.
Yeah.
You know, your character, like people know you the type of character you are and what type of leader you're capable of being on whatever leader that you are.
How do you feel about like a person's character? Like, what do you feel like your character represents? Like a lasting impression.
It's almost like what, like your reputation, right? It's like how
It's like
people
your resume.
perceive you to be almost. But your character speaks a lot about who you are. Like, are you dependable? Are you trustworthy? Are you a person who, when someone calls you, you just, you quickly try and like shove them away, or do you sweep things under the rug, or, do you take charge?
Right.
What type of person are you? Like we were saying today in the car, like people will forget what you say and what you did, all that stuff. Like, that quote that, everyone knows, but they will never forget how you've made them feel. And that's very true. So I feel like the same thing with a leader. Every day you need to make sure that you're trying to impact someone's life in a positive way.
Right.
Be that help, be that resource.
And even with being a leader, it's like it doesn't stop there. It's like just because you're a great leader now, you can always become better. There's always resources to make you feel like, okay, I can always strive for better. Because, what I'm saying, just now where you're at in the next year or so, you can be in a whole nother position.
Exactly.
And you never know who you're leading, because that person that you once were leading could now be leading you in a certain area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And what I've also learned, like a phenomenal leader, they take the time out to really help build the ones that they're leading to. They want to see you not as like below them, but on the same level.
Yeah,
like they want to help you excel. They want to help you strive towards your goals. They want to help you strive towards improvement. And I think that's very important. Like
extremely important.
It's hard when people don't feel like they're supported or like they're valued. And especially in this day and age, like it's a rough time. Like,
right, and everybody want to be a part of something bigger than themselves.
Yeah, definitely.
You just got to remember that everybody doesn't have that same drive or that same gumption. Like some people are go-getters, some people are they're more laid back. Some people like to be led. Some people like to take charge.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean like they don't have the same capabilities of being a good leader as well. It's just more so understanding each person's qualities and strong suits.
Yeah.
But coming together and forming something.
Yeah.
Unique.
Definitely. I think that's true. And I think that everyone has the potential to be a great leader, honestly. But I do feel like, we were saying the other day, there's some people who their gift is they're called to lead people. And it's just when, that role I feel like is so complex and it wears heavily on them too, I'm sure at times. So yeah, always like support each other, support leaders support those that you're leading. And we were talking about understanding the person as a whole, like getting to know that person, getting to know the ones that you're leading, their character as well.
Right. They'll help you lead better once you know who you're dealing with. Yeah. But even I was thinking about like different type of leaders that we're seeing form, like we said, not too long ago, we just got a new president, new vice president. They're now leading the country, and we pray that God is with them, leading, guiding them, and showing them the path that they want us to be in. And even us as citizens, we're called to be leaders too.
Yeah.
Just as generations go and they pass away, we're called to take that spot.
I agree.
We're supposed to take the wisdom from the old and continue to use it, because history just repeats itself. So that's just being wise in the way that we're moving, but understanding that change is coming and changes. The world is not the same as we once known it to be.
Yeah.
So being able to learn from the youth and being able to adapt to that. So it's not a tier of who's high or who's low. It's like, no, we're right here.
Yeah.
And that's basically with the hierarchy. Like I remember working at a job, and there was a lady who just always asked me, who's the chain of command? And I used to hate that term because it's just like, I don't like you to feel like, just because, oh, I've been here for a couple weeks or a couple months longer than you, then that makes me higher
like
on the totem pole.
Like you're the veteran.
Yeah. Because at the same time, it's like you can know that some people can be at a job for 10 or 15 years, and that can just be because they're comfortable or they just found a place to be complacent. But that doesn't mean that they're more knowledgeable in their job. You know what I'm saying? Like after you do something long enough over and over again, you become very fluent in it.
Yeah, I agree.
So a lot of times you got to look at it like just because you became fluent of doing it, writing or doing cursive or doing the things the same way, that doesn't necessarily make it right, the right way to do it. There's different processes in place that you can get past it. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like as a whole, that's where I see leadership in the standpoint of everyday life.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like leaders help to build a strong team. I mean, because why would you want a weak team?
You're only strong as your weakest link.
Yeah, and I feel like take the time out to to help those that you're leading. Because I will say I've left jobs or opportunities because of horrible management or horrible leadership. So I don't know. I feel like it takes a special person to really be grateful for that role. Do you know what I mean? Like to not take it for granted.
Now let me ask you a question. Not to say that every time you have a bad leader, do you feel like you should leave, or is it sometimes you could be tested in an obstacle where you may need to learn how to deal with that leader?
Honestly, I would say having...
Because I don't think you're supposed to have...
I would say having those... I don't even want to say like bad leaders. It sounds mean. Having... What's a word? I don't know.
Yeah.
I won't say bad, but having a not so great leader really makes me feel like I want to maybe one day step more into leadership roles. Because people deserve better. They deserve
Well, see, that's what I think. That's the lesson to be learned.
You think so?
That's the lesson to be learned when you're faced with that, and you just be like, okay, do I fight or flight? You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you can see an obstacle, or
I change this?
Right, or you change your surroundings, because sometimes you may be placed to be in that area working with that difficult coworker or that difficult manager, or playing on that difficult teammate's team. Whatever your situation is, maybe you're called to be there, versus it'd be like, okay, I need to find an exit out.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, it's like, have you ever wondered, like, when you be out somewhere and that person you just find to be obnoxious and so annoying when they talk to you, just like, oh my gosh, but you just notice that they still are drawn to you or gravitate to you no matter what. It could be a parent at a PTA meeting. You can't stand talking to her, but she loves to talk to you.
You have a point.
You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, it make you think about it from a different point. It's just like, maybe you see something in me. Maybe that manager that giving you a hard time was seeing something in you that's just like, I hate that you're so happy all the time. Or I hate that, you know what I'm saying? Like, people have their own things where they can nitpick about, and it's like God probably have you there to be on mission to the point where you're supposed to shed love, and you're supposed to give grace, or show them a different way, or show them, model the behavior of a great employee.
He's grooming you in that moment.
You know what I'm saying? Grooming you in that moment, and at the same time you're impacting and changing that person next to you's perspective, so then they can go out and be a better leader going forward
as well.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
I don't feel like, because now we live in a cancel culture. When everybody make a mistake, they just be like, oh, I'm done with that. I think it's more so, let's teach.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I would also, to finish by saying, like to also have like one of those like subpar leaders has also shown me to be grateful for the great leaders that I do have, or have or currently have. So you also learn from them as well. So I would say it's it's on both sides. Anyone can step up to the plate and take that role. But if you're going to do it, make sure you do it well.
Yeah.
Do it with, that's a job you got to give it your all.
And at
It's
the
not
same
just
time,
about you.
at the same time, I know that everybody struggles with different things. Life comes in at different times. You may be struggling about bills, or struggling about what we're going to cook for dinner, or who's going to pick up the kids, or
Yeah.
I need to
Like
meet
the day-to-day
this deadline. You know, a lot of times I
the
notice
stressors.
people necessarily don't mean any bad by it, but it's just like you said, that one impression can last. It's always that one impression. Even when you're having a bad day, you can
Or even that one
react.
missed opportunity, if that person comes to you in that moment and needs
Of
something,
coaching,
but you're in that moment you're not in a great place, and you kind of miss that opportunity to lead them, and now that person won't feels like they can't go to you. So yeah, I agree. I mean, that's why I was like, on both ends, it's very important to have that perspective, but to also have that open communication on both ends. Like,
that's where it comes down to is communication.
Because we're all human. We all have
makes
bad
a great
days. We
leader.
have great days.
Yeah.
And some of us are not so graceful on our bad days. I know I'm still learning to be graceful on my bad days.
Think about grace on your bad days. It's like when you're trying to like, you know, ever did that thing where a door's about to close and you try to hurry and squeak through it without touching the door?
Or the elevator.
Yeah. Or you see like a lane closing, you try to hurry and get through the lane before everything comes to a close. That's just like you just, you know what I'm saying? That's just the grace you got to give sometimes. Like, oh, let me get through it.
Let me just.
Yeah. I could get jammed up, and you know what I'm saying? My little analogies, folks.
I'll remember that next time. Just slide through. Okay.
Right.
Just slide through with grace. Okay.
Yeah, just shake that in there right quick.
All right, so I mean, that's our take this week on our perspective on what makes a great leader. There's perspectives on both sides and everything. That's just.
Yeah. So what I would say is, you know, with it, just think about it on your day to day when you're out and about in public, and you just before reacting negatively to a circumstance, just think about, you know, how would just remember those old bracelets, what would Jesus do bracelets, basically like that. Just think about what would Jesus do.
Yeah.
It's just like one of them sayings.
Now, I will say I do try to do that, and I do fall short, but that's okay, because, you know, perfection is not what he's looking for. It's just, you know, it's progress.
Progression over perfection.
Yep. Progression over perfection.
Yep. But guys,
I like that too.
I like that too. We need to make that.
I was supposed to say that.
That's a shirt idea.
Mine's right. Okay.
All right, guys. But until next time, remember to walk in faith, never lose hope, live in love. It's just perspective.